Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you guys had a great weekend. It's Sunday night right now. A couple of things we're going to take a look at is just how the miners do against Bitcoin last week, and then which are the top miners from the bottom of 2022, basically the end of December. Things have changed around recently within the last couple of weeks. We'll take a look at that. We'll look at the Bitcoin miners for last week. We'll look at the charts as well for Bitcoin and the miners from Friday, and we'll get into your guys' Q&A side of things. So thank you again for coming in. And as always, you guys know the drill here. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. And I'm investing in following coins and companies. Full disclosure, as always. Hit the like button if you enjoy this type of content. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin right now on the screen here. So Bitcoin had a pretty good weekend. It was up on Saturday, up on Sunday. It was actually down on Sunday in the beginning, but then it kind of pulled out a nice little hat trick where it came up in the green. So it was a good weekend. We do have a little bit of a, well, we'll get into it here, but I mean, Bitcoin ended out the weekend here at a close of 68,181. It's down a little bit now. We are at 67,854. On the Bitcoin futures for CME, we do have a little bit of a gap here. Not a big one, but we do have a little bit of a gap nonetheless. So it's not that bad. We had a bigger gap here. That was just, when was this? This was back on Friday, well, last weekend, basically. We had a bigger gap here, okay? Now, Bitcoin still here on the RSI is increasing here. We can see where it's at right now. It's at about 67 on the RSI. Last time we were back here, price at that point was actually higher, just slightly, not much. So we haven't had the reversal here yet on the daily. On the forward chart, we have had this. If you look at the RSI here where it was right there at 70, last time we were at 70, price was actually lower. We are now higher in price. We have had the reversal on the 4 hour. We've also had the reversal on the 1 hour chart, which is a good sign. Eventually, I think we will have the reversal happening on the daily chart as well, which then leads me to believe that we might be heading up higher past our previous all-time high here at 73,135. I don't know when that's going to happen. I'm guessing probably within the next couple of weeks, month or so, month or two, possibly, but I think we're going to be going up. I think especially, like I've said before, I think after the summer, people are just out vacationing. There's not much trading going on. It's a little bit less than normal. And then usually right around September, October is when Bitcoin usually pumps. And I'm expecting the same thing to happen here. But we'll see. Right now on the monthly chart, if we look at it, we're a little bit more than 3/4 of the way in. We are having a green month here right now. We are up approximately 8% on Bitcoin just right now, which is a good sign because we did come way down here. So that's good. Right? We had a green month, a red month, a green month, a red month, and then we had plenty of green months here. So we were due for a little bit of a consolidation period, and I think that's kind of what we've been here after the halving event that happened here in April. But that's it for Bitcoin miners. On the other hand, had a really good weekend, or not a weekend, had a really good Friday. Let's go back here. We can see that majority of the miners were in the green on Friday, except for Argo. Argo was actually down 2%, but we had like BitTF up being 16.5% roughly. We also had Hive being up 13.4% up, right? So that was a good day. And then we had quite a few that were close to like 10%, like Mawson was up. Riot, same thing. Stronghold. IREN was up 10.4%. Hive was up 13%. Who else was up there pretty close? Other than that, it looks like everybody else was around 5 or lower. But yes, it was a good day on Friday for the miners. So let's take a look at the miners, see how they did here from the bottom of the 2022, which was in December. I'm checking it from basically the start of the new year of January 2023. On this chart here, we can see here now that Cypher is up the most here. So this is percentage from the bottom end of 2022, basically December end. I'm using the data from January 3rd of 2023 here for these guys. And we can see that Cypher is up 971%. So if you bought shares at that point, you're up quite nicely here. Let me see if I can zoom this in maybe a little bit for you guys as well. There we go. Let's see, will that still fit all in here? It should. It's close. Okay. Yeah, that should still work. Okay. So Cypher is up the most, 971%, followed by Iris, 763, Cleanspark, 750. Terrawolf 734%. Then you got Marathon up 581, Bitfarms 540, Digital 527. Bitcoin's up only 310% from then. So all these miners have outperformed from the bottom here, which is kind of what we expect to see happen anyways. This time around, the cycle was a little bit different because the miners were actually pumping up before the halving event, whereas the prior cycles we had them actually going down in price. But they are up, so that's great news there. The ones that are down are like Riot, Hive, BitTF, compared to Bitcoin. Hut 8 and Core, they had new ticker symbols happen for them. So I don't have the data going all the way back to 2022 for them. Towards the end, 2023, Core was in bankruptcy. Hut 8 was Hut 8 by itself. It wasn't merged yet with USBTC, so I don't have the data for them. But if we look at the start of the year here from 2024, the beginning to where we are now, we can see that Core has done the best here in this last year, up 183%. And this is based on their, I'm using the date for them of where is it at? I think I'm using, what is it? Oh, where did it go? There it is, 129. So they created a new ticker symbol after they got out of bankruptcy. So I'm using that date for them. They're up 193% here. TeraWolf is up 90%. Bitcoin is up 54%. So those two have outperformed Bitcoin here this current year, basically, year to date. Iris is up only 43%. Cleanspark up 41%. Cypher 31%. Hut up 29%. And then BitDeer is only up 3.63%. Whereas we have Marathon being down 7%, Bitfarms down 15%, Hive down 17%, and Riot being down 29%. Riot has been the laggard here this past year the most on it. And we've been kind of seeing that throughout the last kind of 6 months here. We've been seeing where other miners have been doing a lot better. Riot, it might be because of their operations. It might be also because recently they tried to, or they're in the process of trying to buy Bitfarms out through a hostile takeover. I don't know if that's having any weight on it. Bitfarms might be down because of that. Also, Hive, I just think they don't have a lot of growth going forward. Marathon had poor operations in the first couple months, 4 or 5 months or so. They've fixed things going forward, but that's kind of where we're at right now with all these guys, year to date at least. Okay, it's kind of nice to take a look at that as well. Look at to see where they were from the bottom to now, and year to date as well to see how they're performing here compared to Bitcoin. Because generally you want the miners to be performing better than Bitcoin here. But so far, we only have Core and TeraWolf performing better this year. Okay. All right, let's get into the weekly here, see how the miners stack up. And from here, we're looking at the same thing, kind of, but we're looking from the 52-week bottom. So wherever they bottomed out in the last 52 weeks, we're looking at to see how far they've come up from then. And TeraWolf is leading the pack right now. It's up 527% here from the last 52 weeks from the bottom to the top. Cleanspark is in second place, 427, followed by IREN at 305. Then you got Core, 288, BitDeer, 296. Then you got Marathon, 245, Hut 8 at 215, Bitfarms, 203%, Cypher up 187, Bitcoin's up only 167% from this bottom here in 52 weeks, and then BitDigital, Hive, and Riot have underperformed Bitcoin here, okay? That's on these bars here, and then these bars, the red ones, are how far away they are from their 52-week highs. So the closest one here is Hut 8 right now. It's only 7.5% away from its 52-week high here, followed by Bitcoin. Then you would have TeraWolf and Core. And a lot of these guys are down like in the 20s and even, well, right, it's 37% away. Now, when we look at the 1 week chart here, see where things ended up then. Bitcoin's up 15% in the last week, had a great week. I tracked this for Friday to Friday numbers, kind of like the way the miners trade Monday to Friday. So I keep, that's the way I track it. Cypher's up 32%. Cypher had the best week out of them all. There are rumors that Cypher might be possibly getting bought out. We don't know if those rumors are true yet, but that's kind of what we've been hearing from Bloomberg. Riot is up 23%, Marathon up 19%, Hive was up 18%, Bitcoin was up 15%, Hut 8 performed as well as Bitcoin. Cleanspark was up only 13%, so that has underperformed along with everybody else here. Bitfarms was up 10%, TeraWolf up 5%, BitDeer 4%, Core 3%, BitDigital 2%, and IREN was actually down 8%. IREN had a short report come out with them. What was it, last week or the week prior? I can't remember. But I think that's kind of what contributed to their underperformance here. Excuse me. Going to the 4 weeks, you can see Bitcoin's up 11% here. Everybody except for Bitfarms, BitDeer, and IREN have underperformed Bitcoin here. The best one has been Cypher, 49%, followed by Hive, up 35%, and then Hut 8%. On the 8 weeks, we can see that Bitcoin is actually down 1%, where all the miners have outperformed Bitcoin here in the last 8 weeks. Biggest gainers have been TeraWolf, up 156%, followed by Hut 8, 125. Then you got Core, 119. And you can see how everybody else stacked up. And then finally, we got the 12 weeks. We can see at that point, Bitcoin's only up 6%. Everybody, again, has outperformed Bitcoin here, with Core being up the most, 210% here, followed by TeraWolf 155%. Then you got at IREN 139% and Hut 8 up 136% as well, and everybody else along the lines here. Okay, going down here, we can see the table of green weeks, red weeks, and we've had a mix here recently. So last week was a good week. We had a lot of green. Prior week, we had more green than we had red, which was good to see. Prior to that, we had a green week as well. Then prior week to that, we had a kind of mixed bag, kind of half and half, it looks like. Same thing before that. And then we had a couple green weeks here. So it's kind of nice to see how that all progresses throughout the weeks here, going all the way back to September of last year. Okay, but that's it. I still think that, I keep saying this, I think we're still early on in this place, in this game. Bitcoin is where it's at right now. I still believe that Bitcoin's going to go up much, much higher from where it is. I still think it's going to go to like 150,000 to 180,000 potentially, if not higher, based on things that I'm just seeing here right now in the next 12 to 18 months. And the miners will do very, very well going forward. The only thing is very volatile that we're in right now. Right, miners sometimes go up when Bitcoin goes down, and sometimes they go down when Bitcoin goes up. So be prepared for the volatility. I like to just dollar cost average into these guys here, especially on the red days if I can, and that has worked out pretty well for me. I don't day trade them, as you guys know. All right, but that's it. Let's get into the Q&A side of things. But as always, Patreon members get access to all my spreadsheets. Right, you guys have access to that. We'll update this later on tonight, or upload it to Patreon later on tonight. The link for that is in the description of each video, and it's $8 a month. There might be some spots open at like $5 and $4 tier ranges, and if you pay the annual subscription, you get 10% off on that. Plus, you get access to our private Discord server as well. Okay, that's my sales pitch. That is it. Let's get into the Q&A side of things. Here's what you guys have to say. What are your thoughts? And I'm sure most of you guys have heard already that President Biden is not going to be running for re-election. He's he's supporting Kamala Harris, and that one we'll see what the Democratic Party does with the person who's going to run for the president. We'll see who it actually ends up being. I have no skin in the game here, but it does look like former President Trump might actually get the win here. We'll see. Let's see here. All right, going through your guys' questions here. Bear with me. It might take a couple seconds here. Okay, let me see here. Okay. At what price would you stop buying Bitfarms? Oh, probably around $4 or $5. I think I would stop buying it at that point, because I still think it's going to go to like $15 or something, potentially, maybe even higher than that. Conservatively, I think $15 is doable in this cycle for him. Cleanspark 100 says, hi, Special. I'm showing Cleanspark up 61% year to date. Okay, let me take a look at that. Did I do something wrong here on my numbers here? Let me take a look. Let's see here. I'm going back to Cleanspark. Let me see here. Okay, let's take a look at it here. So here's my table here. I'm going back to 1/2/2024 on Cleanspark. At that point, it was at 1260. It is right now at 1784. That gives us, now I'm at 41%. I don't know if my math is wrong there. I'm doing stock price, this one divided by this one, minus 1, and that's what I'm getting. So let me know if my math is wrong on that one. Okay, going back here. Let's see, also Freddie asks, will Cleanspark double up to 40 in the next month or two? I'm seeing a lot of comments that it's about to break out. 40 would be a 2x, well, more than 2x for right now. If Bitcoin starts rallying up to like 80, 85, 90,000, then maybe yes. Other than that, I don't see that happening. That's just my thoughts on it. I would expect we would need Bitcoin to go up at that point. How would Cypher and Bitfarms move this week? I have no idea. That's anybody's guess right now. Don't have a crystal ball. I wish I did. make things a lot easier, but I just don't know. Do you think it will be a green day for miners tomorrow? Bitcoin at 68,000 right now. I'm hoping it is, but we'll see. Depending where Bitcoin goes, if Bitcoin retraces back down to fill the gap on the CME futures, may not be. We'll have to see. Seb, who realistically can afford to buy out Cypher? Hyperscalers. Hyperscalers can do it. Right? If they're looking for megawatts, Cypher has that low cost power as well. So hyperscalers could do it. I mean, you're looking at like possibly like Amazon. You're looking at Microsoft, Google. Who else? ChatGPT. So that's, what is that? OpenAI, I think, right? With them. Musk could also do it. So there are companies that could do it if they wanted to. Sour Melon Gaming says miners will rally this week into the reserve news. Trump reveals Saturday monster week coming. Yeah, so Trump has, I think he stated it, or they're going to state it, that they're going to use Bitcoin as an additional monetary reserve, possibly. I mean, that would be a good catalyst to possibly pump Bitcoin up higher. Let's see. Yes. Oh, let me see that one's not popping up. Bitfarms from Berlin tomorrow on Tuesday. Do you think Bitfarms will win? If Bitfarms wins and the Bitcoin at 68,000, will it finally trigger the bull run? I think they will win. I think they've done a pretty good job here recently, at least, getting Penny Phillip on the board. She's got plenty of experience. They also appointed Ben Gagnon as the CEO there, which was a fantastic get for them. I was calling for that to happen. So I think they're doing the right things there, and I think they're working in the best interest of shareholders. That's at least my take. Now, we don't have the insights of everything that goes on in there, and we'll have to see. I'm hopeful that they do win, but we'll see. How high Mara goes if BTC hits 150,000? 150,000, that would be roughly 2x from here. I would say possibly like Marathon would probably go like maybe 5x or something like that, if not higher. Let's see here. Seems Ben from Bitfarms has been promoting pretty hard with interviews lately. When will investors open their eyes and jump in? I mean, yeah. I mean, he has been doing a great job. He's been going on Spaces. He's been doing interviews and things like that on YouTube, all this stuff. I think he's also going to be at the Nashville conference, which I'm hoping I can attend. Things got a little messed up over the weekend for me for my kitchen remodel. I'm hoping I can get back on track on that, but we'll see. But I'm hoping to be there as well. It'd be nice to kind of meet up with him a little bit, talk to him if I can, if I have the time. And if he has the time, obviously, the big thing is for him. But yeah, I don't know when. I think maybe once the Riot takeover bid is out of the question there, maybe at that point the stock takes off some more. But that's kind of what I would think. Let's see. So if Cypher gets bought out, how do you think that will affect the stock price? Well, depending on what the buyout price is for it. Where's Cypher at now? Cypher finished out at $6.19 on Friday. I mean, based on, well, let's take a look at the action here on Cypher here recently. So if there is any credence to this, I mean, Cypher went up as high as $7.99 here. This was back on, what was this, Wednesday? Wednesday, yeah. I mean, it has rallied hard here. So if they were at 450 and then maybe somebody, the rumor is going to be putting out an offer to buy them out at $8 or something like that, that's a, close to 100% increase from where they are. If they say maybe like $7 or $7.50 or maybe even $6.50, kind of like where we are right now, roughly, that would still be a pretty good premium on it. Then it depends on the board. Does the board and the CEO and everybody else in there think that this is a good price to get out at? Right. The big thing is you have a guarantee of something, and if somebody goes to buy you out, say somebody offers them $7 per share, you have that guarantee. You're up quite nicely here, and you have no guarantee that Bitcoin is going to go up. So they got to weigh that. It's tough. So if somebody doesn't come in with a low ball offer, I guess. But if somebody comes in with a good offer, like $7 to $8, well, then you got to weigh that, because there's definitely a good increase here in the stock price on it. Okay. What else do we have here? Peak right price end of year. That's going to greatly depend on their operations, uptime, and where Bitcoin goes. I think they are, compared to their peers, they're undervalued for their hash rate as it is right now. So based on that, I would see them at least 2 to 3x from where they are right now. If Bitcoin gets to like 90,000, 200,000 by the end of the year, potentially. I would kind of see that. Davey says you missed a bunch of questions on top. If I did miss your question, pop it down below. I'll try to get to it. I didn't know where the questions started, so I just kind of picked a spot and went from there. Let's see. Seb, love your content. Thanks about the dip on IREN and still in big in Riot. Do you have your stamps? Do I have your stamps overall? Yeah, I think if you got in a good pricing on IREN and you got in good prices in Riot, yes. I think they will do very well going forward. Let's see. Taj, I think that's how you say it. Taj. I believe Kamala Harris is not a U.S.-born citizen, so by law she cannot be a U.S. president. All right, we're starting with that one again. Same thing with Barack Obama. Let's see. Kevin, thanks so much for the super chat. Let me see here. What do you have to say? Best last 7 days ever for me. Thank you, God. I believe more than ever. Trump life saved. Most importantly, my mom after 1.5 years can walk again. Oh, that's fantastic. If your mom can walk after 1.5 years, that's fantastic. I don't want to ask why that's the case, but if she can walk again, that's fabulous. Let's see. I have Cypher and Bitfarms. Should I move to IREN anytime soon? Depending on the pricing that you have in Bitfarms and Cypher. If you're up huge on Cypher and Bitfarms, I think Bitfarms is still more undervalued than IREN is right now. IREN is, let's see here, where's IREN at? 1130. I mean, they're kind of still well valued for where they really should be. Kind of on the lower side a little bit. I think they might be up a little bit higher than that, but not much. I think Bitfarms would be a better potential gain if they can get away from Riot. Let's see. Kevin says, my mom is so happy. She's doing so good, amazing, and also my portfolio is at an all-time high. Awesome. That's fantastic. Love hearing that. Arn says, I hope you're right, Seb. I can retire if Bitfarms at 15. Well, you must have a lot of shares. You got me probably beat. What is the most undervalued miner in your opinion? Secondly, do you think Bit Digital with its ETH holding will benefit from Ethereum ETF? If considering loading up, I'm considering loading up on Bit Digital. Okay, so Bit Digital is a funky one. They have a massive contract for HPC AI that they're not being valued on it, I don't think, at least not right now. And I think the only reason they're not being valued on it is because they don't own the infrastructure there. They host everything. I spoke with Sam on a Spaces with somebody else that was hosting it. I asked him the question, are you guys looking to buy infrastructure or anything like that to be not asset light? He said that they are looking at it. They do have some infrastructure that they're looking into. And if they start buying infrastructure, I think that would be a good sign there for them. And I think at that point, maybe the stock would actually go up. And then I would also like to see them grow their hash rate for Bitcoin mining as well. So if they can do those things, I think the stock would do much better than where it's at right now. But we'll have to see if they announce those things. Okay. And as far as which one's more undervalued, I think right now, I still think Bitfarms is still more undervalued than the rest here. Hive potentially as well, but Hive doesn't have much as far as growth targets going forward. Amik says, next major hurdle for BTC, 74,000. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think that's kind of the next one, trying to get past the previous all-time high at 73,000 something. Cliff Dixon asks, do you see a downside to Kamala Harris being the Democratic candidate regarding crypto Bitcoin? I don't know if it's the President Biden or Kamala Harris. I think it's more on Elizabeth Warren and her renegade stance on Bitcoin. And I don't know if it's just because she's funded by big banks or something like that. And that's the reason why she has a lot of, I guess, push in the Democratic Party, possibly. So I don't know what Kamala Harris's stance is on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. Estaj says Musk's laser eyes is back. Game on, LOL. I haven't seen that. I'll have to take a look at that if Elon has his laser eyes again. Let's see here. Nope, why did not pop up? There it is. Been seeing some posts on X about the ideal number of miner companies to own at one time. Any thoughts? Geez. I don't know. I mean, that's a personal... I mean, so here's the thing. We know that a lot of these miners are going to do pretty well, right? The majority of the miners will also do pretty good. The question now becomes is which miners do you think will outperform the other miners depending on when you got into them? So if you got into them towards the bottom of it, a lot of these miners will do really well. Some will do much better. If you're starting to get into them right now, now's the question you got to ask is, okay, what is the possible X multiple that these miners will get going forward in the next 12 to 18 months? That becomes really tough. And that's why I was buying back in 2022, even before the full bear market hit in, because I just didn't know where the bear market was going to be. But I saw based on my metrics that like Cleanspark, IREN, Bitfarms were pretty good bets, right? So far, IREN and Cleanspark have worked out. Bitfarms has been lagging, but that's because of all the fun that's been happening around the stock here recently. At least that's my thoughts on it. Now, had you bought into like Marathon, you'd still be up pretty good here. Had you bought into Riot, you probably wouldn't be doing so well. But that doesn't mean that they can't do really well going forward. So the ideal number, I think, is to have maybe between 3 to 5 of like the top miners, possibly. If you can have those, I think you'll do pretty well. And there might be some outliers that may not be the top 5, but still perform really well because of whatever reason. Low number of shares, easily to manipulate, things like that, that still could happen. But I would rather take my chances on the top 5 to top 7 miners than some of the smaller ones that are basically a lotto ticket possibly. You just don't know if they're going to do really well, but they might. Let's see here. Cypher potential buyer still think Cleanspark may not be involved. Yeah, I don't think, I mean, that's too much for them to try and buy Cypher out. Cypher has a market cap of, let's take a look at it here recently here. Let me see, where's my market cap numbers? Oh, where did it go? Market cap, there it is. Okay, take a look at this here. This is as of Friday here. So Cleanspark has a market cap of 4 billion. Cypher has a 1.8 billion, so basically 2 billion market cap right now. That would be quite a lot of dilution for Cleanspark to do in order for them to buy them out on the share side of things. We know that they're funded to like 50 exahash of miners. We know that they still have to buy infrastructure as well. So it's going to cost a little bit more there. But that would be a, I mean, if they do that and they can do that, oh God, I would rather have them build out themselves than buy somebody at a premium at a much higher price. That just doesn't sound like something Cleanspark would do anyways. But that's just my thoughts on it. Could be wrong, but we'll see. Going down here. Which miner has the best risk to reward ratio right now? I still think it's going to be probably between Bitfarms, for sure. Hive is questionable right now. And then also, I would say maybe, maybe including their Digital as well. And then you got some of the smaller miners that might surprise us, right? We don't know, like Sato Technologies, Griffin, possibly, Digihost, I would think, the ones that have infrastructure. So it's tough. It's tough to say. Let's see. Okay. Hey, Seb, my analysis on Bitcoin having cycles shows price target of anywhere between 175 to 225 in the 500 to 600 day range past halving. Keep a neutral demeanor like Seb and take profit, guys. Love you. Yeah, perfect. That's kind of where I have it. I have it at 180,000. I'm in the lower end, kind of like you have it. by 2025, that would kind of work out the way I think I have it. So, yeah, absolutely. Keep a neutral demeanor. Don't get too excited. Don't get too down on yourself, too. If things go down, try to buy in. If possible, we still have a ways to go. Let's see. If Bitcoin hits 150,000, what is the price the Wolf or Riot can reach? Wolf has had a pretty run. Oh, geez. Let's take a look at it here. I mean, Wolf has had a nice run up here recently. I think it kind of overshot itself a little bit. As we're having a little bit of a pullback here. It got up to 651 right now. It's at 559 as of Friday. If Bitcoin gets to, let's see here, 150, I think we use. Is that the question? Where'd it go? Yeah, 150,000. That'd be a double. I think you could do like a between 3 to 5x, if not maybe higher. Maybe more so on the lower end than a 3x. Same thing for IREN. IREN's had a huge run up here recently. I think it would still do like a 3 to 5x potentially. Let's see. Kevin says, this is just the beginning of big things. Big things, guy. I'm excited, and you all deserve what you waited for. Yeah, thank you, Kevin. Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, like I said, I've been buying since 2022, beginning of 2022. So we're going on 2022, 23, 24. So we're about 2.5 years into this. Well, I don't know what you want to call this chapter in my life where I've been just buying like crazy as much as I can, and hoping the next year or year and a half it will be well worth it. So we're looking at possibly at that point 3.5, 4 years. That's a long time to be investing and not having, not taking out any profits out of it. Let's see, based on history, BTC to top out September 2025, based on historical time analysis I'm looking at. That, yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I would see things happening also, topping out around there. This cycle is different. We have the president, candidate for president saying that he's going to possibly use Bitcoin as a reserve. We also have institutions, ETFs. It is a different cycle. So we'll have to keep an eye on it, see where things go. But that's kind of what I would think normally if cycles were the same. Let's see. Hey, Seb, at the beginning in the second table for 2024 was Digital skipped. Did I skip that one? Let me take a look. Where is it at? Here, and then we did second table. I'm thinking you're talking about the 12 months here chart. Digital. Did I skip that one? Riot, Hive, Bitfarms, Marathon, BitDeer, Hut 8. Yeah, I skipped it. Thank you for pointing that out. I got it here, but I don't have it in the year to date. Okay. Thank you for pointing that out. All right, I'll add it back in. I'm just going to add it in here right now. Let's see here. Digital BTBT 124 24. Okay, so it's up 49% from year to date. And let's see, does it show up here? Digital. Yep, it's up here. Okay, so going forward, I'll have it in there. Thank you so much for pointing that out. I appreciate that. Okay, what else do we have here? Cypher, potential buyers still. Okay, I already talked about that one. Does it really matter who the next president is for BTC? It does matter in a sense because it depends on if they send their minions after the crypto sector or not, which we've kind of seen with Biden's administration. It was one thing after another about them trying to possibly pass a bill that was going to be like, what was it, 30% increase on taxes for them for electricity usage. They had the, what was the other one? Gosh, I'm drawing a blank here. I know what I want to say, but it's the energy EIA, I think it was called. Something about them doing a survey on all the miners that was very, very intrusive into all the details that they wanted to get out of there. Then you had possibly possibly trying to get banks to stop the on-ramps for some of the not the miners, but the platforms that allow you to trade and things like that. So yes, it does depend. If you have somebody that's going to be very onerous on regulation side of things for Bitcoin, that does make an impact in case instead of somebody that's going to be a little bit more lax or try to drive the innovation going forward, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So yes, it does make a difference. When will you buy Riot? They seem to be undervalued in good growth projections, so why not buy now? Well, for me, Riot has always been a poor performer when it comes to their operations. We've seen that over the last basically now year and a half, right? Has it been a year and a half? Yeah, year and a half. Ever since they had the power problems with the storm that they had in December, January of, I think it was 2023. And then it took them a long time to get those things fixed. So for that reason, I still think that there are maybe other miners that might be more undervalued, like Bitfarms. That's why I've been trying to buy up as much as I can at that one. But if they start fixing their issues, then yes, it could still possibly do pretty well going forward. Jeff says, loved the info Ben and Jeff of Bitfarms shared in the recent H.C. Wainwright interview. So bullish. Yeah, I watched it. That was a really good interview. And they said in there that they were fully funded to 21 exahash, which was fantastic. And I questioned it. Why not provide that as a press release? Let's see. Hey, Seb joined a little bit later. Did we miss data for BitDigital in 2024 table? Yes, we did miss it. I did not have it in there, so I did correct it. So thank you for pointing that out. Would you prefer Bitcoin goes parabolic here to 200,000 or slow, long grind up towards, I would say long, slow grind. I would like to see that more so. Let's see. Kevin, thanks so much again for the super chat. In 1 week, Trump saved Mom can walk again. Okay, I think, am I going backwards or did it? It's the same thing. But thank you. Okay. Are you concerned about the macro environment and possibly of recession causing the miners not to reach your targets? What is your game plan in that case? Okay. I don't think we're going to have a recession anytime soon here, at least not this year. I'm thinking maybe towards the end of next year, into 2026 possibly. But if we start getting rate cuts, I don't see that happening, which I think we will, because the data for the Fed is looking a little bit better for them to where they're getting down to where they want to be at the 2% inflation rate. So I just don't see that happening, at least not. We may have a soft landing, which would be really good, but we'll see. Don't think, just respond. Top 5 miners to invest in now. Okay, then that would be Cleanspark, IREN, Bitfarms. We would also have CORZ in there. And who else? The last one you could probably fight over would be like Marathon and Riot, depending which one you want. Let's see. Kevin says here they should have went with Michelle Obama. For Democrats to choose somebody instead of Kamala Harris, maybe if they wanted to win, possibly. Kevin says I'm a Republican. Can't believe that BS. Yeah, it's I mean, I'm a Republican. I've voted Republican for all my life basically. But I am not a big fan of having these guys that are this age in there. We need some young blood in there. Biden and Trump, they're both up there in age. It's like it's becoming a nursing home for the elderly here. The White House is. So I'd like to see some young blood in there. The predicted price of IREN 99 days out. 99 days out. What is that? Is that towards the end of the year? Depending where Bitcoin goes, 3 to 5x, somewhere around there. Are you buying Hive? No. I actually owned Hive from 2017. I held on through the bull rally in 2021. My mistake. Learned on that lesson. And I sold it last year, November. I think it was November of last year I sold it because I just did not see the growth there happening. They have great operations, great healthy balance sheet. They've been through this before. I just the miners that are having growth going forward into the end of this year are seeing a much better multiple. So that's the reason I got out of it. Let's see what else. Let's see. Trying to find a question here. Okay. Which is better at current price, Cleanspark or Marathon for future potential during the run? Okay. Well, don't look just at the price. Look at the market cap as well. Where do you think the market cap could be for like Marathon and Cleanspark? And then also, can Marathon reach the 50 exahash target that they have for this end of the year? Can Cleanspark also reach their target of 32 exahash this year? Marathon's going to be the biggest miner possibly if they can get to 50 exahash by the end of the year. That might give them a little bit of a premium compared to Cleanspark from where they are right now. I don't know how well they can execute on that, and what can they maintain as their uptime going forward. Those are big questions there. If they stumble in any way, Marathon could take a hit a little bit, and I think maybe Cleanspark might do a little bit better, but more or less I think they're going to be about the same, with Marathon maybe pulling up ahead a little bit because of their huge growth compared to where they are right now. Do you think Cypher can hit 40, 50 bucks a share this bull market? It's at, what is it, $6 right now, 40 to 50. You're looking at roughly an 8x possibly. That would be tough. A lot of their growth is done until 2025, which might actually coincide with the bull market. And if they can get a lot of their growth, then it's possible. Let me see. Yeah, I think it might be possible. Depending if Bitcoin goes to like 180,000, 200,000, or something like that, it might be possible. Let's see your thoughts on Fufu, another new Bitcoin miner. I've looked into them, but I haven't really checked to see as far as what they're doing all in. I don't know what their hash rate is or anything like that, what their growth is going forward. So I can't comment on that one. May I ask, what's your dark horse, the most underrated miner that could surprise? Cheers. That could surprise. Gosh. I mean, that's really tough, because what I'm looking at is past performance, and we haven't really seen anybody that's stepped up their growth recently as far as hash rate going forward. Like somebody that's been underrated or something like that. Could be maybe like Sato, maybe. Who else? DMG or Digihost, some of the smaller miners, maybe. Who else? Hive, if they come out with a growth plan to get to 20, well, let's just say 10 to 15 exahash. If they come out to 20 exahash, then that would be huge for them. But that's kind of the ones I would be thinking of right now. See. Can you explain a little bit about buyback? If Bitfarms at 400 million shares worrisome, Mara at 270 million, and Cleanspark at 220, have either of those two had buybacks and brought the amount of shares available down? No. None of the miners in the history of the miners have had any buybacks of any shares. And the reason for that is because they have to grow, right? You also have to remember that Bitfarms has been around since 2017, 2018. Where Marathon came in on the scene a little bit later. Cleanspark came out on the scene in 2021. So that's the reason why they have less shares. Hive would have probably even more shares in Bitfarms right now if it wasn't for I think they did a 5-for-1 reverse split. When was that? Back in 2022 or 2023? Can't remember now if it's 2022 or 2023. But Hive's been around like the longest here also, along with Bitfarms. But the reason the Hive has less shares is because they did a reverse split. So Hive would have had more shares. So I don't know if it's worrisome. I'm not worried about the number of shares that they have right now. I mean, look at Apple, some of the other companies. I mean, they got billions of shares, and their stocks still do really well if they do well. I don't think the shares have anything to do with it, really. Let's see. Sadie says, my only red is that I have but one like to give. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. Does Riot not have a good risk to reward? I think it's good risk to reward right now where the stock price is. If they can fix their operations, I mean, that's the only risk there for them. They got plenty of cash, everything else. They're growing. It's just getting that. And I think maybe if they get this Bitfarms purchase off their mines and concede on that, maybe at that point the stock would kind of go up because, I mean, the stock hasn't done anything after they announced it's actually come down in price. So I don't know if that's having an impact on there, but it looks like it. Let's see here. Felt like Riot has been dumping Bitfarms, just a hunch based on price movement. If so, do you know when that would have to be released? Oh, God, I have no idea on that one. I don't even know if they would have to release it if their shares are decreasing in Bitfarms. I think you have to notify if your shares are increasing. I'm not sure about if they're decreasing. I'm not sure about that. What else do you invest apart from the miners and crypto? That is it. I have a little bit of Rivian. That's it. That's all I have left. So I tried like penny stocks in the past and pharmaceuticals that were supposed to get FDA approval. I got burned on those things. I invested in altcoins as well in the past. I got burned on that. So things that I can gauge and track and have metrics on, I like doing that much better. I feel like I have a little bit more control in that than just blindly going into something. Let's see. Any idea when Riot dilution could happen? And I think that would be the last one, right? I don't know if it's going to be the last one for them. Don't count on any of these guys not stopping the ATM unless things really become favorable for them in the debt market. If that becomes favorable for them with low rates or something like that, like 5.45% or something like that, maybe at that point they might go that route instead of doing the ATM. But other than that, if they're looking to grow, they're going to be using the ATM. So, but I think it's, as long as it's accretive, as long as you're getting more for that, you're getting more bang for the buck, I think that's good. Let's see. Okay. So here's a kicker. How do you gauge profits? For example, IREN, Riot, Bitfarms, Riot, Bitfarms all have 3 to 4 by December 2024. Do we really think they could do more throughout 25? Why risk it? They could do more. If Bitcoin goes, let's just say Bitcoin goes to 200,000 from where it's at right now, that would be basically a 3-point-something X. At that point, the miners should do, if historically speaking they repeat, they should do like a 9x on, from where they are right now. So that's why I would say you can do that. So it is risky. I mean, you can take profits. There's no shame in taking profits anytime. I'm a little bit more risk, I guess you could say more risk averse, I guess. Or not risk averse. I'm more risky in that regard. As I'm trying to make up for some of the bad decisions and getting in penny stocks and other things like that in the past. But I feel like I have a little bit better handle on it this time around. I could be wrong on this, but I'm willing to take that bet. We'll see. If Bitcoin is a sell the news event when Trump goes to the Bitcoin conference in Nashville next week, do you think the mining stocks will have a big pullback? I don't know. I mean, the miners have actually been doing pretty well compared to Bitcoin here the last couple of weeks. Now, Bitcoin was actually going down sometimes. The Bitcoin miners were going up. So that's a tough one there. I think people are starting to front run Bitcoin a little bit with the miners, maybe a little bit. We'll see. Right. I'm in it for the long term anyway. So if we have a dip, buy the dip. That's the way I would look at it. Let's see. David says, if Bitcoin's at 150,000 in Q1 2025, I'll sell 90% of my portfolio. Last cycle, most miners peaked in April 2021 despite BTC topping in November, and many miners had never got close to their... Yes, you are correct on that. The only one that had a double peak was Marathon at that point. Everybody else peaked in April when we peaked at, what was it, 63,000, I think it was? Somewhere around there, 63, 64,000. And then Bitcoin went down because of China banning Bitcoin mining in the country. Things went down from there, but we reversed back, but none of the other miners did at that point. So, yeah. I mean, if we get to 150,000 at Q1 2025, I might be selling quite a large portion as well. Let's see. I remember HUT was $20 Canadian a few weeks ago. Why is it around 26 now? Was there any good news? The only good news was the what is it called? Co2 investment firm invested 150 million in them to build out HPC. Right, that's the only thing that's really been out there. Seb, thoughts on Marathon losing that 138 million lawsuit seems worse than the Bitfarms CEO lawsuit. Which lawsuit is that 138 million? I'm not aware of that one. Might have missed something there, but this is the first time I'm hearing of a 138 million lawsuit for them. What are the top 4 miners this cycle with the 8 to 10x from here? You need Bitcoin to go to like 200,000 at that point if you want any of that. 8 to 10 here. Might be some of the smaller miners potentially. Some of the bigger guys, like I said, I think Marathon could possibly get over $100. Cleanspark 70 and over, IREN 80 over. So that's still like a 5 to 6x for those guys. And depending where Bitcoin goes to 200,000, you might see that on those. You might probably see it on all of these guys here a little bit. The ones that are actually growing this year and into next year, the ones that have had a good track record of growth, good uptime, good operations, good management, all that stuff is important. So keep an eye on those things. How do you anticipate Riot Bitfarms situation getting resolved? What impact, if any, have been appointment on this outcome? Well, I think it's a positive for Bitfarms. They took their sweet time trying to announce the CEO or get a new CEO there. I wish they would have done a little bit faster, but maybe it's a good thing that they took their time. They had people come out from the outside world as well, interview for it, and Ben has also interviewed for it through the whole process like everybody else would. So I think we got the right person in place there. The other important thing was, like I said before, Penny Phillip getting appointed to the board as well, I think is a big get for them as well. How will that work out in the future for them, though? That all depends. The tribunal's meeting tomorrow with Bitfarms and Riot on that to see if Riot can stop Bitfarms from having the 15% poison pill to back up to 20%. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, if you heard the interview, which interview was that? I think it was with H.C. Wainwright even. Was it with H.C. Wainwright? That he said that the shorts should cover. So I'm guessing he's expecting good things for the company going forward. We'll see. Let's see here. Divi asks, have you seen Trump's speech? He can debate for 90 minutes without any hiccups. Oh, it's crazy. Yeah. Let's see. Jeff says, Sebastian, love your data content. Very interesting. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's see. Do you have any concept of what the network hash rate would increase for every 10,000? No. It's not really based on that. It is a little bit, but mostly it's based on future orders that are coming in that miners have purchased, and a lot of miners, like the top 5 miners, so you got Riot, Bitfarms, IREN, Cleanspark, and Marathon, have ordered machines like to increase by 100 exahash roughly between them all, just for this year alone. Close to that, I think. So that's at least a huge increase there, so that we should get to like 700 exahash potentially. I'm thinking with them only having about 20-25% of the market cap of Bitcoin network hash rate, the 75% other that might also be increasing, I'm thinking we could be like to 800, 900 exahash by the end of the year. Maybe. That's kind of my thoughts on it. We'll see. Let's see. Kevin, thank you again so much for the super chat. I agree 100%. Why do people who won't be alive in 30 years decide our futures bet we can all agree on that? Yeah. I mean, we'd like to see some younger blood in there. Let's see. This week, Canadian court will rule a bit. Yeah, 20% game changer and bye-bye, little Ben Chris. Yeah, we'll see if that happens. I'm positive about it. I don't know for certain, but I think that they will rule in favor of Bitfarms. But we'll see. The only caveat there is the 15%, which typically it is like 20% for the poison pill to be enacted. Let's see. Hi, Sebastian. What's your views with Bitcoin miners moving to HPC AI, long-term sustainability? I think it's a good thing, right? If they have good contracts that they can get from that, I think it's a good thing. I have no problems with it. You're looking at, Bitcoin is still going to be the majority of their business as far as megawatts for the most part, except for maybe like Core. Core's going to have a huge revenue from that. And overall, I think it's positive. If you can have a sustainable income source going forward, whether it's for 2, 3, 5 years, whatever it might be for a contractor, I think it's a good thing. I'm not against it at all. Hi, Seb. I was wondering if you noticed any new patterns with miners during this cycle compared to last cycle. Thank you. Any new patterns? I have not. The only new pattern that we had this cycle was the miners actually went up a year prior to the halving event. That we haven't had that in the past. And that's the only thing that I really noticed here. And they've been kind of performing like last cycle after the halving cycle, really, for the most part. See, if Riot had enough free cash available, then why they go for dilution? Was it really needed? Large portion of that was based on their Bitcoin hodl, and they're hodling it to be because they want to have it grow in value. Right, if Bitcoin goes up, it's going to be more profitable for them that way. So I think that's why they're using the ATM. That's the reason that Cleanspark is doing the ATM. That's the reason Marathon's doing it, the ATM. They're all doing the same thing for the most part. See, HUD did the same thing with a restock split. Yeah, they did that after the merger with USBTC. Yes. Let's see here. Kevin was gifted a membership by J. Cole. Awesome. Thank you, J. Cole. J. Cole, you gifted 5 semester memberships. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Steven was gifted a membership by J. Cole as well. J. Cole, thank you so much. See, if Riot fixes their uptime and meets their growth targets, they are a great risk reward. Only reason they aren't $20-30 now is because of the uptime and their Bitfarms takeover. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now as well. We're on the same page there. Vector Recovery was gifted a membership by J. Cole. J. Cole, thank you. William was also gifted. Thank you. And then Supra 7 was gifted. Sadie and J. Cole's on fire. Yeah, thank you so much for gifting those. I said, what are your thoughts on Mara? I think they are doing quite well last month. What to expect in numbers in end of 2024 if Bitcoin hits 100,000? I would see them probably between $30 and $40 somewhere around there. Bitcoin gets to 100,000, maybe a little bit higher than that. Just trying to think. I mean, that's basically they're at what, $20 now as it is. Marathon, yeah, $24. Yeah, I could see them around 35 to maybe like $40, if not higher. See. Let's see. J. Cole says, enjoy. Anyways, happy to share value with other BTC miners, investors, and Sebastian's high value. J. Cole, sincerely, I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see. IREN 14 this week. Bitcoin goes to 69,000, done being shorted. Possible. It's possible. What is your sell strategy for Bitfarms? When will you start to scale out? I think I'll probably start to scale out when, probably get closer to like $10. That's at least my thoughts. $8 to $10. I'll start dollar cost averaging out of those things. Also, I made dollar cost average out if the merger or the buyout by Riot is looking inevitable. Maybe at that point I'll start selling out as well. We'll see. Let's see. Seb, why you hate Riot? Jason will be disappointed. Riot is most undervalued, and you know it. Based on my numbers, they're not the most undervalued, but they are undervalued, I think, based on what I'm seeing here. And I agree with you. I don't hate Riot. I just don't like their operations. That's the only thing. It's nothing against Riot. It's their constant issues with operations. If it wasn't one thing or another, it's taken them 12 months to fix the issues that they had from a winter storm that happened. Right? That's not great operations there. They do get power credits, all that stuff. That's all great. They have a nice hodl now also, so that's great there. They do have good things going for them. They have a Corsicana facility. If they can operate much better at that point, yeah, I mean, there's no hate for it. It's just I'm going based on metrics and data that I have on them. That provide themselves. They haven't had a great year and a half. Let's see. Yes, all will go crazy when the retail investors FOMO in after BTC hits 80 to 100,000. That might be the case, yeah. I mean, usually we get the FOMO in happening, yeah. Let's see, what else do I have here? Trying to find any questions. Let's see. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to find a question here. There's a lot of comments between Kevin and J. Cole going on here. You guys are probably reading that. I don't think we need to repeat that. Let's see what else I have here. Okay, there we go. If Riot buys Bitfarms, would it mean bullish for Riot's stock price? Depending on the prices they're paying for it, that's going to be the deciding factor there, I think. If they're overpaying for Bitfarms, it doesn't make any sense for them to buy it. They can build out much cheaper. But Bitfarms does have some things that Riot does not have. They have access to other countries. They have working knowledge in those other countries as well. Riot does not have that. So they are bringing quite a bit to the table for Riot as well. Let's see here. Kevin, thank you so much again for the super chat. I acknowledge J. Cole as tribal chief. I will make him the honorary tribal chief. Let's see. Do you think there will be a big pump in the morning? Seb, where's Bitcoin at right now? Bitcoin. I don't know if there's going to be a pump. I would love to see a nice pump, but I don't know if we're going to get it. We'll see. What else we got here? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to prevent from having dead noise here while I try to read through the comments and look for questions. Okay, here we go. Have you heard any more on the IREN Morgan Stanley team up? Do you feel IREN is fairly valued? I do feel like IREN is fairly valued right now. Let's take a look at IREN here in my spreadsheets. I'll show you guys what I'm looking at. Let's see, over here. So here's IREN. They are at $11.30. I'm between $9.92 to $14.87. This includes just their self Bitcoin mining. Okay, this does not include any HPC AI possibilities that they might have in there, or even the one customer that they have in there now, Poolside, I think it is, that's generating about $1 million in revenue a month, I believe. This does not include that, right? So this is just at self Bitcoin mining. I think that they are fairly valued on the lower end side of things, maybe even closer to the top. Not the top, but towards the middle side of things. The tops for me was 1487 here. 992 was a low for them. Kind of where I was looking to see where they could possibly be fairly valued right now. That will change as Bitcoin price goes up further, right? When that happens, that will also change for them as far as their price targets going forward. You can see here that analysts have them going to $23 on the high end to $10 on the low end. Right? It's definitely higher than what I have them at right now, but they're more forward-looking than I am. I'm looking at the last 3 quarters, the current quarter that we just finished up here, so I probably should include that. We'll change it over in July. We'll change it over into Q3 numbers possibly for them going forward. So the way that works is I'm looking at the last 3 quarters that were reported here, right? And then the current quarter that we're in, which is estimated right now. That's kind of where I'm looking at on the revenue side of things and then running my numbers on it. So if we start looking forward into it, I think they will fetch much higher than where they are right now. But right now, they look pretty fairly valued to me. Hope that makes sense. Let's see. Okay, I think I skipped over some questions here. Where did I end up at? Okay, there's that one. Okay, covered that one. Okay. All right, I'm back to where I was. Okay, here we go. Hello, Sebastian. Question, what do you think the share price of CORZ for this market cycle? Okay, that's not an easy one also because we know that a lot of the HPC AI revenue is not going to come until middle of 2025, where it's going to start. They're building out to get to that right now. If they can build out even faster, maybe that might improve things. But the other thing is we also have to think about is that, let me see here, is that core with the warrants will have a dilution effect on them. That should get them to about, what is it, like 404 million in shares, I think, right now. So based on that, right now, this is before the dilution happening with the warrants, I'm between $19.22 to $28.83. Now, the dilution is going to be about 100% from where it is right now in shares, a number of shares, divided by half. So now we're looking at, what is that going to be, $9.60 here for the low end. On the high end, we'd be looking at $14.40 roughly. They're at 1039. That's just currently, I think that's kind of where they should be fairly valued. Going forward, if they came out with a release with Block, right, Square, that they're going to be using their miners, they're going to be purchasing, I don't know when, but like 15 exahash. Let's just say they take out 10 exahash of the old machines and replacing those with the latest generation from Block. That gets them to 25 exahash roughly. Or if they even just take out 5 exahash of the old ones and put in the 15, they could get them to possibly 30 exahash at that point. If they can do that still within the next possibly 6 months or so, 6 to 9 months, I would say, that should fetch them a nice higher multiple here. And then once we get into HPC AI in middle of 2025 next year, that I think is when the stock is going to really pick up, or right before, a couple months before it. The revenue is going to be, what, roughly 200, is it 207 million? I can't remember exactly. It might be even higher now because they extended the contract with them. But it's going to be sizable, obviously, over the next 12 years, right? It's 3.5 or 4.2 now or something like that over the next 12 years. That, along with Bitcoin mining, yeah, I mean, we're looking at much higher from here. I just don't know exactly where. I could possibly see them getting to maybe like $40, $50, if not even way, way higher than that. I would have to run the numbers on it actually to see where they could possibly be at that point. But much higher from where they are right now. Okay. Angie says J. Cole should be Sebastian moderator. We'll have to keep an eye on J. Cole, see if he's a good dude. I mean, he already gifted out 5 memberships, so thank you for that. Let's see, J. Cole says, Riot has underperformed the operations for almost 2 years, as Sebastian just said. No one hates Riot. I was saying that a buyout of Bitfarms under 10 share would be a good move for Riot, especially. I mean, even at $10, they would be paying a huge premium on Bitfarms at that point. I could see if they could get it at the original price that they wanted to at $2.30. That would be a master move by them. They could have done that. But anything above, I would say, like $3 or more, you're paying a premium at that point. Let's see. If they could retain Bitfarms CEO in any capacity to guide them into far superior operational performance. Oh man, I don't know if Ben will be willing to step down from a CEO position. So it might end up being where, be careful what you wish for sometimes. Jason might be able to maybe buy out Bitfarms, but at the end, the board then from Riot cans Jason and puts Ben in charge there. We've seen that with Hut 8 USBTC merger. We had, what was her name? Jamie Leverton get let go, and Asher Gunu got put in that place. So, be careful sometimes. Let's see. Same question for Bit Digital this market cycle. For them, it's also the same thing. Like I've said before, they don't own any infrastructure. They're all asset light right now. I think if they own more assets, as far as data centers, things like that, I think the stock would do better because I believe the market is valuing megawatts, and if you have access to that, yes, you can lease it out. You can host your machines with somebody else, but you don't own anything there. You only own the machines. And I think the big thing is having the data centers, having the megawatts. That would be a big boon for them. So let's just say Bitcoin goes to 150,000, 200,000, and we're looking at 3x roughly from here. At that point, I would expect them to do at least a 5x at the very minimum from where they are right now. I'm trying to find another question. Okay, MinerDoc says, when looking at price of IREN, one should consider their second Texas site and possibly to partnership AI HPC. How do you value 1.4 mega or 1.4 gigawatts of available power? Well, here's the hard part on this. All of the guys that are trying to get into HPC AI, they are all battling right now with OpenAI and ChatGPT, right? So speed is of the essence for a lot of these guys. That's why CoreWeave paid Core Scientific $300 million to build out in 6 months, or not even 6 months, basically a year, not to build out, but to retrofit their facility to be a tier 3 facility, because you just need to be in that space as soon as possible, because advantage to those that are already in it, like OpenAI, they just keep building on their successes. They're kind of, it's going to be hard for others to possibly compete or catch up. Same thing if you look at Tesla. Tesla has been doing or trying to do AI for driving, self-driving, right? They have years and years of data that the other car manufacturers don't have on self-driving. That is a huge advantage to Tesla. So I think the speed is of the essence. Even if IREN has the 1.4 gigawatts of available power at the other site, you're looking at least minimum 2 to 3 years before that gets built out, because you need there's lots of stuff that goes into it. I'm sure you guys already know about it. You need the what is it? It's like, I can't remember what's the exact term for it, but you basically need to ask the electrical company to do a study on it, to see a feasibility study, I believe it's called. And then after that, you get either approval or you have to come back with some other things, do that, and then you have to build out, and transformers, substations, that all takes time. So I don't know. It's tough to really value them on this cycle, especially if we're looking at the next year, year and a half possibly for the peak. Okay, what else do we have here? Let's see. IREN at 80. If BTC goes to 180, still bullish on that? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my conservative price target for IREN right now is $80. I have the following investments as follows. Bitfarms, 30% at $2.40. Cleanspark at 15% at $3.35. Nicely done with Cleanspark. You actually had me beat. I'm like at $3.60, something on Cleanspark on average. Marathon, 10% at 14. Riot at 5%, 9%. Wolfcore, 8%, 340. I mean, really good job there. Congrats. Bitfarms, you're higher than I am. Bitfarms is a little bit high. You got in a little bit later than I did. I got in Bitfarms. My average is like $30.40 on them. Let's see, but overall, if nothing else, hold on for the next 6 to 12 to 18 months, and you'll do really, really well. Where do you think IREN can go with BTC at 250,000? At that point, we're looking at $100 plus, as long as they don't stumble or something like that. So, let's see. Jaco says, I have learned that pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Take what's on the table and never write covered calls on miners on more than 50% of your shares to avoid missing out on the coming bull run. Good stuff. So I'm not sure if you answered this question. I assume all miners anticipate people will sell most of their stock during all-time highs. How do they manage not to go out of business in these situations? They build up a huge treasury at that point. We're seeing Marathon has got $1 billion, $2 billion in possible assets that they're doing. Cleanspark, same thing, a little bit less than that, quite a bit less than that actually, but they're building that as well. Riot, same thing. So they're building up the treasuries to withstand the next bear market, where they can even grow and stuff like that. So that's kind of the way they do it. And that's through ATMs, dilution. Let's see. Do you see IREN outperforming Cleanspark the rest of the cycle? As far as stock percentage gains, maybe. Not sure. I would have to look at the numbers exactly to see where each one is at, where I think they might be going. But you also take a look at the market caps of both of those, right? IREN, I think, is still going to be lower market cap than Cleanspark, mainly because Cleanspark has a hodl position. They're growing to, well, they have plans to already get to like 50 exahash next year sometime. We don't know exactly when. And IREN does not have a hodl. So I think for those reasons, IREN will be lagging on the market cap side of things. They might perform a little bit better on the stock price, but I'm not sure about the market cap. What else we got here? Trying to find another question. Okay, if prices go up, I read. Okay, you're talking about options there. I thought it was a question there. What are your average buy prices on the miners you buy? So I've been buying since 2022. So I was buying Cleanspark at like $9, Bitfarms at $5, and I was just dollar cost averaging down all the way down until, well, they bottomed out in December of 2022, and I continued to buy even after that. So my average on Cleanspark is $3.60, something like that. Bitfarms is $1.40 something on average. And right now, IREN is a little bit higher on that. It's $6 something, I think, $6 or $7 right now, because I bought a fair share amount after it started to go up a little bit, but it's still way up from where it was before. What else we got here? Let's see. You're probably not smart to buy back. I don't want to miss out on a big run. LOL. Well, buy back. You could still buy back. I mean, you still could possibly get, a minimum of 5x on some of these guys. You guys are talking about options here. I'm getting lost here in the comments. Brad asks, what are you guys thinking BitDigital does this week with Ethereum ETFs opening up? We'll have to see how much interest there is in the Ethereum ETFs compared to Bitcoin ETFs. That might be the big thing that either drives it or doesn't drive it at that point. We'll see. IREN has chances to outperform Cleanspark. Stock price percentage increases possibly, right? If I think Cleanspark's getting to, on average, I'm saying conservatively, I think Cleanspark can get to 70, whereas I think maybe IREN can get to 80. So do the math on that, where you think the market cap is going to be on those, and you'll kind of see where I'm looking at that way. J. Cole says here, let's see here. I'm under 5 on all my shares for MAR, Cleanspark, and an average of 250 for Bitfarms. Okay, so you're a little bit higher on Bitfarms, and you're under 5. So that's great. I mean, congrats there. That's really good. If you can be under 5 or even under $7 for a lot of these guys like Marathon and Cleanspark, you're doing pretty good. The thoughts on this week. Sure seems like there's tons of positive catalysts for the miners to run too. Yeah, I mean, short term, I don't really care what happens. The only thing I care is if there's a dip, I hope I have the cash to buy in at the dip at that point. I'm still looking at long term. Whatever the dips are in the meantime, or if we have nice rallies here, okay, that's great, but we're eventually going to have a pullback because we need those pullbacks in order to have a nice healthy run. So I don't really know where things are going to be in the short term. Let's see. Ronald says, I think BitDigital, I think it's going to double from here in about 45 days tops. That's why I own 47. Wow. Lots of great news coming. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, that would be great if it can happen. Let's see. Seems BitDigital and Bitfarms mostly always follow each other. Market patterns lately. I have to look into that, see how those compare. Well, let's compare those two. Let's see here. Let me do this. Okay, we got Bitcoin up here. Let's run the numbers here. Bitcoin, let's add in here BTBT. That is a scale percentage, and we'll add in there Bitfarms as well. Let's see here, BITF. Let's see how they compare. Yeah, I mean, right now they're looking pretty close here recently. Their bit digital is up 76% here, and this is from, let's see what we're looking at here. This is going back to May, so this is roughly, what is that? Let's do year to date. Year to date, I mean, yeah, look at the charts here. They are performing similarly. Wow. I did not notice that before. Thank you for sharing that. That's interesting. Wonder why that is. That's interesting. Okay. All right. Well, that was interesting. All right, let's get back into the questions here. Let's see. Big Boys with Cool Toys. Thank you so much for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. Hi, Seb. Thank you for the great job. I need your no financial advice suggestions. I have about 15% of my reserved cash available. Which miners would you suggest I invest now? 50 from my 50. Okay, so 50% of your funds already invested in. I don't know which ones you're in right now, but I would say look at Bitfarms, look at Riot, look at potentially Bit Digital if they come out with some good news there. Look at who else? Core, potentially Bitfarms. I already talked about Bitfarms. Cleanspark and IREN. We're looking at those. Let's see. Okay, here we go. We got more of that. So you got Bitfarms average $2.40, 15% in Cleanspark, 20% between all other ones. Would you invest remaining 50% of your available? Where would you? Okay. 15% in Cleanspark, 20%. Yes, I wouldn't go all in on any single one. I would possibly go into like Bitfarms, like you already have. See if you can get the lower average price down a little bit on that one. Then look at some of the other ones that might have really good growth here, like IREN, Riot, if they fix their operations, that could be a good bounce there. Bit Digital, if they come out saying that they are buying infrastructure, that could be a good bounce there for it. So there's a couple of things that you could possibly get into based on that. Let's see. Jacob says, yeah, you never go broke making a profit. Absolutely. Yeah, there's no shame in taking profits. Let's see what else. Brendan Mays, Grid. Grid. What did I hear last? No, it wasn't Grid. It was somebody else. It was, I'm drawing a blank here, but I know somebody else was Grid. I just don't know. I don't track them because they don't provide monthly updates. That's kind of what I need for them to do in order to see what's going on there. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. All right. I think we're caught up here. We've been going on a little bit over an hour here as it is. So we'll see what happens next week or this week. Bitcoin right now is at 68,000. So it's not too bad right now. Let me see here. I will provide the spreadsheets to the Patreon members later on tonight or either tomorrow morning. I'm off this week. Trying to finish up this stuff with my kitchen remodel. And then I'm going to be possibly heading out to Nashville as well for the Bitcoin conference. So that's why I'm trying to catch up on everything. But we'll see. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday. I might do a stream early in the morning. We'll see how things go. If there's any news. Thursday, if I'm going to be in Nashville, there probably won't be a stream. Same thing on Friday as well. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Okay. Again, thank you to all you guys that provided super chats and all that stuff, all the great questions. Greatly appreciate you guys for coming in to spend your time with me here on a Sunday night. Hopefully you guys learned something from it, from others as well. I mean, there's a lot of great comments in the chat as well. Okay, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Hopefully we have a great week, great Monday, and we'll discuss what happens tomorrow. I'll see you guys then.